Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Full Force Monthly, brought to you by Hoardar, the collector's app. In this regular series, we usually get stuck into specific G.I. Joe related topics with different special guest hosts every single month. However, today's episode has a double function as our New Year's Day special. Joining me today is a Full Force co-host regular, Joe Declassified alum, and one half of the awesome Articulated Points YouTube channel, Patrick Notpicard Stewart. One half of our highly talented Irish contingent, the man who brought you such books as Total Retaliation, Total H.A.C.K.S, Total Action Force The Battle Years, and the upcoming Total Skeletron. Yep, it's totally Paddy Total Package Lennon. And Boss Fight studio partner and art director, customiser extraordinaire and Aquaman superfan, Erik Dirty Araña Araña. Today we are going back to the future to see what we are looking forward to the most from G.I. Joe in 2022. So let's get stuck in, shall we? What is it, Pat?
It's the Full Force New Year's special, right?
I'll take it. I'll take that. I was going to say it myself, and then I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll drop Pat in it, like I always do. Yeah, it is the Full Force. It's the Full Force New Year's Day special monthly. So here we are, guys.
We're going to do a New Year's Day special every month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's going to be New Year.
You do a Chinese New Year one in February, so
we should.
That's a good idea, actually. I'll get Brian on the graphics again for that one. Right, so let's start off with. We'll start off saying hello to Erik, because we haven't seen Erik for ages. Erik Araña, how are you doing, my good man?
I'm good. I'm tired, and I'm very, very happy for this week off. Even though I was at work yesterday, but we're supposed to be off this week.
You go into work and you don't do any work. That's how you do it, right? Yeah, yeah. I know the deal. Have you had a nice Christmas?
Yes, it was very quiet and very mellow, which is that's my speed. So
yeah, I feel that. Have you done what I've done and eaten all of the food, or have you done really well?
No, I'm on a very strict and harsh, quite frankly, harsh diet, and
you look good actually. You look like you've lost
I've lost 30 pounds since October, so
unbelievable.
I'm on track to lose 30 more, and then I'll be at my goal. So
did you know the universe balanced that by giving me all of what you lost?
Yeah,
it's
well, that's I've been working on that. Destro built the weight redistribution device.
The mass device.
The mass.
The mass redistributor. Yeah, anyway.
They increased Chris's mass device.
Stop sending me mass, for God's sake. Not Mass Wells from the In-Demand Toys. Anyway, let's move on to
Mass Device.
The Good Night Mass Device.
Oh, I'm looking forward to Midnight Mass Device.
Vampires. Oh, spoiler alert. Paddy, how are you doing, my good man? All the way from Ireland.
Excellent. I'm also on a week off. Whereas Erik is being like a monk and only eating tofu.
Dust.
I'm slowly working my way through 30 cans of craft beer in my fridge.
Oh my goodness.
Slowly. It's taken me 2 days, guys. It's taken me 2 bloody days to get through these. Awesome. Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, did. Very, very, very quiet. Literally not a whole lot at all going on.
Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. I like to keep it short and sweet in the intro. Pat, buddy, it's been a while actually. We did a lost episode that managed to come out, by the way. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but I lost that entire edit and then thankfully somehow salvaged it out of nothing. So how are you doing since then?
I'm doing okay. Christmas has been kind of crazy. I've been pretty busy. It's been somewhat ridiculous, but I'm here and I'm glad.
Awesome. We're all here. We're all knackered, and we're all ready to do our New Year's Day special. I'm glad actually, because it feels like we've all just had a really rough New Year's Eve night, and we've gone on first thing in the morning, and we're all just like, oh yeah. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody, to all the listeners. I've had a fun Christmas, and the folks are here. They're out through this wall. They're behind this prison wall.
Encase them in the wall?
Yeah, lock them in so they can't go anywhere. We're actually in Missouri right now, and we've got to make the long drive tomorrow. So 2 days it'll take to get back to Pawtucket. But yeah, can't wait. I don't know, get back and open some presents. I've got a big box from Hasbro waiting, which I've got to do an unboxing for, but I've missed the boat on that quite dramatically. So apologies to Hasbro. Thanks for sending me a great big box of toys, but
I did not go to your apartment and pick that up, by the way.
Is that it behind you? Hang on, is that it there? Awesome. Right, okay, well, let's get stuck in, shall we? What are we actually doing? So then, what are we actually doing here? Well, in a similar way to the holiday special, we will be looking forward to the year of 2022 and discussing our most anticipated classified figures and other G.I. Joe related items that we know about getting released this very year. Let's start with our most anticipated classified figures then, and going first, let's start with Erik. What are you most looking forward to, sir?
With classified, I mean, so much of it looks so cool. Like, it's just gorgeous figures, gorgeous.
There's only a few figures next year, though. There's only a few figures in 2022, though, isn't there? It's not many coming out.
No, there's not. Yeah, there's not too many. There's like 30. I can't believe how fast they're cranking out the classified. It's really, really fantastic. Yeah. And I think for me, representing my native heritage a little bit and stuff like that, for me, it's got to be Spirit. He was always one of my favorites. I love the eagle, and I love the figure. I love that they got some outside help and guidance on that, rather than, because even though I loved Spirit as a kid, now when you look back at him, he's really,
I don't know what you're talking about.
And my other choice would have been Crocmaster, because again, I love Crocmaster and giant alligator, and baby alligators. Like,
awesome. The baby alligators, it's so sweet.
But for me, it's Spirit. I love the character, and he looks amazing. So I'm really excited about him.
Awesome. What about you guys? Do you like a bit of Spirit?
As Erik said, I think it's very nice that they went and got some outside advice on how to update him and be sympathetic to, the Native American heritage of that character. Box art looks fantastic as well.
Yeah.
It's one of the nicer reveals of the box art they did recently. I think it's going to be a great figure.
Yeah, shout out to Jeffrey Vareghi as well, who was going through some absolute torrid hospital stuff. I believe it's still kind of going on, but there was an uptick, wasn't there? I'm sure there was like a positive move in recent weeks. So our thoughts go out to him and his family, and hopefully he can get beyond this, because that's got to suck, especially at this time in the world. To be in a hospital, it's the last place you want to be in, I guess. Well, unless you've got something, then it's the first place you want to be in. Pat, what about you, mate? Spirit? Bit of Spirit? Do you like a bit of Spirit?
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I really like the way that they handled the wings on Freedom a lot. That looks... It was a nice... that was one of the ones that I was trying to picture how it would be handled, because the fact that every other Freedom, it just constantly has his wings out, even if he's perched, it just looks a little strange. And it's going to be a good one.
He's literally always landing on his arm every single time, isn't he?
Or threatening to take off. I don't know which.
I was actually expecting articulated wings in a weird way, like little ball sockets on the wings, but I'm kind of glad that they went with two sets, right? I think they've got like removable set that goes in, and
bird wings are so crazy because they unfold and triple in length. It's so nuts to be able to actually get that to work on a
bit like your penis, isn't it?
Yes, it unfolds
and triples in length. Well, it gets to 3 inches anyway. What are we talking about? Anyway, right, that's Spirit. Brilliant. I must admit, actually, that is one hell of a good looking figure as well. Love the updates to him. Still got the signposts to a degree, like the color palette is still there. But they've kind of removed some of the more stereotypical offensive aspects.
I'm glad that he has normal pants and boot. He doesn't have moccasin boots and the fringe pants from old Hollywood Indian, Hollywood Native American representation. So I'm really happy with the update.
I wonder if Super 7 will ever attempt to do the cartoon version. I wonder if they'll steer away from that.
They'll do that right after Hooded Cobra Commander.
Yeah, they may want to steer away from that, and I would prefer to see an all blue Airborne from Super 7. like
be
in the
cool.
all blue with the gold like striping and stuff. That I think that would be very cool.
That would be dope. That would be
Again,
awesome.
representing Native Americans. So
Absolutely.
and psychics.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, that's a good episode. Right, next up then, we have Paddy. Who are you going to steal from me for the best, most anticipated figure of all time?
Well, obviously he's going to be an Australian Steakhouse exclusive. It's Tiger Force Outback. Yeah, it's hitting all the buttons for me. Tiger Force, European exclusive, grey hair, just like I have.
We've never seen it. We've never seen it.
Well, this is, it's a race between going grey at the sides and bald from the front. So I just shave it all off.
Nice.
Makes it much easier. But yeah, that is the first. That is the one figure that as soon as he went up for pre-order, I pre-ordered him. I know it's a Target exclusive, but actually that doesn't seem to be as much of a problem anymore.
Nah.
I think he's still available for pre-order in most places.
Yeah. There's no way of those figures hard to get anymore. Like it's
no, not anymore, and you need to get down cash.
Speaking of Tiger Force.
Speaking of Tiger Force, that's also excitement for the first of what's going to be a whole sub team of Tiger Force this year. And if Hasbro know what they're doing, a couple of vehicles as well. Give me a Tiger Paul Lenny. That's all I want.
Big time.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have Tiger Force back, and for the first figure to be the European exclusive back.
I'm also hoping they do a whole run of European exclusive repaints as well. Like I hope we get like Hit and Run and Blizzard and Sneak Peek and Tunnel Rat. I'd love to.
Oh, they could do that crazy gray and red Spirit repaint.
Yes,
that'd be awesome.
Mutton Junkyard, if they ever bring Mutton Junkyard out, you get that gorgeous like black and blue one that's just really, really sexy. I think blue. They had this overstock of blue paint in the factories for the UK, didn't they? It was like
that's how they chose their
Waterford.
What do we have on hand?
We've got blue, orange. We've got this random. Let's do that. We've got piss
The best
yellow.
thing would be is if they never did standard color releases as well. Like Tiger Force Outback is ish. That's the only one you get. That'd be amazing.
Amazing. That would be hilarious. What about any love for Tiger Force Outback for the rest of the team?
Tiger Force Outback, we've talked about it before. He's kind of the brand representative of Tiger Force.
Oh yeah.
So
why'd you say that?
Well, because he has the shirt on. He's a fan of Tiger Force.
What shirt is that? He has a shirt. I've never really noticed it. It's really chill and not very like.
Oh really?
It doesn't really stand out.
It doesn't stand out at all to you.
Yeah, I kind of. How funny would it be? And I'm sure there's going to be customs when they come out. But if they'd have done the original design on the classified
homemade Hello Kitty, homemade Hello Kitty Tiger Force shirt. Yeah,
I want to know who designed that so bad. I want to know who did that, just so I can give them a medal, shake their hand.
Just put a statue of them up somewhere in Shropshire or somewhere. Yeah,
they deserve a statue in every inch of the globe. Just needs to be covered in the guys' statues who did that. It's amazing. Anyway, yes. Tiger Force are back. What about you, Erik? You a fan of Tiger Force Outback?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love Outback, and my favorite version is actually the Tiger Force one, the original one. So being able to get Patrick Stewart Selkirk / Outback would be amazing. He looks fantastic, and I'd be okay if they never did the normal version. If you only have the Tiger Force version, that's all you need.
I think it's almost a guarantee that you'll see Outback in his normals probably before the end of the bloody year, knowing the way they're cranking them out.
I'd love a Battlecore / Eco Warriors deco with
/ Fraggle Rock Dozer version.
With the crazy neon pant, like the camouflage neon and green pants or whatever. Like they're so cool.
That is an amazing figure. He just looks looks like a Dozer. He's even got like the similar kind of color scheme going on with it's amazing. I love that. And there's like 50 versions of it as well, which is even funnier. Okay, that's Tiger Force Outback. Thank you very much, Paddy. Next up then, Patrick. Take us through what's your most anticipated figure in 2022 and why?
I did have a little bit of difficulty picking. I really was thinking about maybe Stalker because I'm really curious whether or not Stalker's going to be similar to 1982.
Yeah.
Or if he's going to be an update. I'd love to see the Tundra Ranger Stalker.
Oh,
I also thought about
God.
Zorana, because the 25th line took a long time to get to Zorana, and then she's an exclusive.
Zorana!
And it looks like Zorana is coming very soon for Classified, which is a very different thing. But I ended up going with Crimson Guard. And
that was my second
the reason
choice.
why I went with Crimson Guard is that I'm curious how he ends up looking somewhat like it's a dressy outfit, if that makes sense. And one of the things I've always been curious about is Crimson Guard's backpack. It just fascinates me. What does it do? What does it contain? And I wonder if Classified will have it open. What will that look like? Or will it even be there? Because there's the great Retaliation. It was released in Retaliation, right? The other Crimson Guard.
Yeah.
That one was wonderful
like
too.
Perfect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sword that's stored. There's a lot of little different things that they could do with Crimson Guard. I'm really curious about that one. So when we're talking anticipation, I think I'm going to go with Crimson Guard.
I've seen that backpack like facing that way up, and I've seen it facing that way up as well. Which way do you pose it with the backpack?
Well, it has a Cobra logo on it, so it goes
up
that way.
That's the correct answer. I've seen so many pictures where the backpack is twisted upside down and facing the other way, and it's always irked me a little bit because that thing should be up. You should see it over his shoulders, shouldn't you? But anyway, so anyone that's putting them the other way around, sorry, but get out. Well, you've brilliant figure. That was a big one in Action Force as well. Like during the comics run, like Crimson Guard was on every bit of merchandise. Like you couldn't move in the UK without seeing the Crimson Guard, the Televiper, and Flint. They were the three that you would see on everything.
And the Crimson Guards are supposed to be a secret, so like they were not doing their job in Europe.
No, they were doing a crap job in the UK and Europe.
I always thought the idea that Hammer had, where they were all basically the same, they're all Freds and had the same face. I'd be like, but people would spot them after about a minute.
Yeah.
Like you move to a town and he's your accountant, and then you move to another city and suddenly your accountant is also a Fred.
Yeah.
The whole point Cobra Commander even says, they're going to get active in local politics and etc. So you're like, so your town councillor in like Buttcrack, Missouri is Fred, and then you move to Ohio and your town councillor is a Fred.
Also, their names are Fred every single time.
They're all Fred.
You would never, ever be able to miss that, would you? Like, it would be so obvious.
Whereas the Action Force comics had it as in they were just regular citizens who were in powerful positions. So there's a really great issue of the comic where it's a headmaster of a school and the kids find out that he's a Crimson Guard and he holds the kids hostage.
Oh, God, that is so dark, that issue, isn't it? Jeez.
And I much prefer that concept where it's existing people who are in positions of power who are recruited to Cobra, as opposed to all 500 of the same fella who are in the same face, being everybody's accountant or everybody's counselor or whatever.
I always got the impression that only the high-ranking ones were Freds, because Professor Apple wasn't a Fred.
Yeah, they have like the Fred series.
Maybe he was just a Fred who let himself go.
Yeah, there was a Fred series of Crimson Guards.
Ned, he was.
Still hilarious, though. Like that. My lawyer's a Fred, and so is my...
Why is my lawyer, my accountant, my doctor, my dentist, and my gardener all got the same face?
And how come wherever I go to the next office, he's there? How does he beat me to the next office each time? This is incredible. And he's walking past my house.
Why is every district attorney in America the same fella?
Yeah, that is kind of funny. But like Crimson Guard, though, I've got to admit that you've basically, I should have made my choices early, because Paddy comes in and he's like, Tiger Force Outback. That's the one I'm most looking forward to. And then Pat comes in, he's like, Crimson Guard. I'm like, that was my second. Damn it! Why didn't I say anything? So
I wonder if the Hasbro design team would be nice and give us an alternative Fred head for the Crimson Guard.
That'd be pretty cool.
I hope so.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be nice.
That'd be really cool.
Because they've certainly had alternate heads already in the movie line. So that's something that I definitely think would be doable. And for the Crimson Guard, it's not like he's going to be stacked with accessories. The backpack, sword, the rifle, maybe a pistol, maybe.
Maybe also just a copy of his uniform on a hanger.
That'd be really cool.
That's a great idea.
A briefcase that opens up and has the uniform folded in it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully Hasbro are listening and they can make some changes before it comes out in a couple of months.
Or just do a deluxe release like you did with Zartan next year for San Diego Comic-Con or something, you know?
Just a random white dude with blonde hair and regular clothes.
You know, give us
all of his
the
gear next to
head and a briefcase and a bunch of extra weapons and so on.
I like the
name would be like lawyer, no big deal, nothing to see here.
Yeah.
And then hidden in the package, Crimson Guard stuff.
You open the lid, the cover, and it's a different cover inside, and that's the secret. That would be great. I love what they're doing with the deluxe covers. They're so good. This deluxe packaging is incredible. So Crimson Guard, amazing choice there, Pat. So mine then, well, given that I have had my first two choices completely removed from the record, I can tell you now, Tigerfall's Outback is 100% my most anticipated figure of 2022. But in the spirit of like kind of, you know, making it a bit more interesting, I'm going to go with my third choice. And this is I suppose it's not a really, you know, it's no insult to this figure because I cannot wait for Zorana. I think she is going to be unbelievably cool. Now, one of the reasons again is because a lot of the cartoons I used to watch as a kid would have Zorana featuring quite prominently. Arise Serpentor Arise was on constant loop on my VHS. So like that would, you know, like I would see that scene with her and Dusty's another figure that's coming out, I think in the same wave actually, according to leaks. So Zorana for me is one that I just can't wait for. And obviously the classic where she throws Thrasher in the water in the movie after dressing up as Heather and trying to seduce Falcon, and then getting all in a swimsuit costume, and then Thrasher coming up behind her going, "All right, love, taking a dip, love," and then gets thrown in the water. And ever since then, I've had to say Zorana in the way that he says it. Zorana! I didn't know it was you! So that's how I have to say her name every single time now. So thanks for that, whoever did the voice for Thrasher. So yeah, in terms of Zorana, amazing addition to the Dreadnoks. Zartan, of course, or you know, his sister. So it's great to have her come into the line so early. I've got a feeling she's probably going to be very vintage inspired. I can't see them at the moment. Most of the figures are going that design route, so I don't see them doing anything crazy different, but there's a lot there potentially that you could have some fun with, and her disguise element could maybe be played with a little bit here. I mean, what are you guys kind of anticipating them doing with her accessories there?
I think it would be cool if she had some a nice updated her like gun with like the buzzsaw thing of actually spin would be nice.
That would be sweet.
I would probably go with like alternate heads because of her very specific hairdo. Putting something over her face probably wouldn't work as well.
You just had the pink hair every single time. Yeah,
always. But like alternate like Scarlet head or Baroness head or whatever, something like that, like would be a lot of fun. I love Zorana. She's one of my favorites, and not just because if I had married her, her name would have been Zorana Araña, but.
Erik Araña.
But they could do some cool stuff. As for like updating, I wouldn't mind some minor updates to her, but I'd want them to keep it pretty. She's pretty rad looking to begin with. Like, you know, she's kind of like I want characters like Duke and Roadblock and stuff to be updated a little bit to be more modern, but somebody like Zorana is so like visually kind of out there to begin with. It kind of just works. So
yeah, I really can't wait for that.
I would love if they made her a bit more punk rock.
Yeah,
like not just a vintage redo, but like give her some tats, give her a kind of a frayed denim jacket sort of look to her. More of like someone who listened to. Nose ring, someone who listened to a lot of Sonic Youth back in the day, or the Sex Pistols or whatever, that sort of vibe of a girl you'd meet in a rock club. that would be amazing.
I was actually just going to say something similar, because I think the original Zarana is based on the face of Wendy O. Williams.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious if they would go back to some of that original inspiration, which was more punk rock. I think that's exactly where Zarana comes from, is the punk rock scene. So yeah, I agree with what Paddy said. It would be interesting if they went with that. I also want to echo what you said and see if they would also play up the disguise aspect of her a little bit more. Obviously, Zartan, when he originally came out, he was a little more expensive of a figure because he came in a box and they had the ability to add some of that stuff to him. She doesn't wear a hood, so they couldn't just do a mask, but maybe some alternate heads or something to play up the disguise aspect of Zarana could be cool.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that figure. I cannot wait. I'd also love to see them do a repaint in the Deke colours too, because I've been wanting.
Oh yeah,
I've been wanting something like that for a long time. I've seen a lot of like customs, really good ones, where they've done like vintage O-ring version in that colour. They've done like a modern version where they've got the kind of the exclusive figure and kind of done her up in that deco, and it looks amazing. So yeah, I'd love to see that done as well at some point. There's definitely like a repaint in there for Zarana, even if they just do Python Patrol. But yeah, exactly. All that, yeah. I suppose there's that black one, isn't there? The black costume that came out, the exclusive. Yeah, so there's repaint galore in that figure. So yeah, looking forward to her completely. And I just imagine the head sculpt's going to be outstanding. From what we've seen so far, the head sculpts have just been like real, like top class. Even if they're just helmets, they look great. But the head sculpts have been great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, right now, well, we should probably move on then to most anticipated G.I. Joe items of 2022. So, starting us off then, we'll go back to Erik, and you can explode all over us with your most anticipated G.I. Joe item of 2022 that isn't classified.
Anyway, my most anticipated item outside of classified. There's a lot to choose from. This.
There's so much. Too much.
I'm excited about the Saturday morning comic. I'm excited about a lot of the stuff that's happening. But I think my number one is Sunbow Baroness from Super 7's Ultimates line. Awesome. That's the Baroness I've always wanted. I always preferred that blue and yellow look to the black leather dominatrix visuals.
That surprises
I love the green glasses. I love that she comes with the mask and the camera gun from the first issue of the comic, and her accessories are fantastic. She's just so cool looking, and it's like perfect Baroness for me.
Yeah, Pat likes that one, don't you, Pat?
Yeah, that one looks really good. I was excited for that. I'd been trying to cook up in my mind a nice vintage style custom of that, but who knows? Maybe that would be a great candidate for an O-ring figure as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously we've got O-ring coming around the corner as well. I mean, you could cheat and say I'm looking forward to whatever they've got coming in the O-ring, because there's going to be a lot of it coming in the O-ring. Can I say that on a family show? I probably can't say coming in the O-ring, can I? All right, I'll cut that out. What they've got to be released in the O-ring, that's also just as bad. I'll just say I'm looking forward to O-ring, and everyone knows that anyway. So well, we've got a blue one out already from Super 7, have we not? In the reaction line, does that count?
Yeah, the reaction line one. Like I said, there's so much coming out. It was really hard to choose this one because there's the O-ring stuff and the Sky Striker, and I guess the Sky Striker is technically the year after.
Yeah, 2023. Right? Yeah.
So okay, but this, the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. There's so much cool stuff coming out, and not just from Hasbro and Super 7. There's all sorts of other stuff as well.
It is ridiculous. It is redonkulous. It was ridiculous 2021. We had so much merchandise. It's unreal. So Baroness, great shout. Love that one. Love that blue costume as well. And I love the fact they've got a head from the cartoon. From the cartoon, and a head from the comic in there to kind of really cover the bases.
Those Ultimate figures are the perfect representation of the animation. They're just nailing it across the board. Those figures are fantastic, but the Baroness is the one that my mind keeps going to.
Good shout.
as the standout in it.
Good shout, man. Good
So
shout.
far.
I'm more. This is a slight sub looking forward to, and it's just the Destro with the lava head and the what looks like a sander that he uses. Anyway,
that's my Destro impression. That's
Paddy, take us through your most anticipated item of 2022, please.
Yeah, mine is not a product. Again, I'm not. Not that what Super 7 and the other licensors doing doesn't excite me.
He hates
but what was
it.
exciting, I hate it. I hate it all. It's too expensive and it's all. The one thing we got a little bit of tidbit of information there about 3 or 4 months ago that they're planning a new cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Featuring that's going to emphasize Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. I want to know more about that cartoon because G.I. Joe actually works really well in animation. You have Sunbow, you have Resolute, you have Renegades. If it's more Renegades than Sunbow, I'd be very, very happy. Thanks very much. But yeah, all we really know about it is it's happening and that it's going to focus on Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Let's be honest here, we need to get kids into the brand again. And the Snake Eyes movie didn't do it. The video game didn't do it. Declassified didn't do it. The first wave was, we want to try get kids interested, and then they realized, oh no, kids don't care, so we're just going to have to pander to the collectors and go full on vintage, recreations.
Yeah.
But the brand needs kids. If we want to see this at mass retail, in 2 years' time, you need to get kids on board with it. So I hope that a good cartoon comes along and can engage children and keep fans interested. The Transformers Cyberverse cartoon is actually probably a good example where it's very much kid focused, but they bring in loads of the Transformers lore and characters from the IDW comics turn up constantly in the Cyberverse cartoon. The Decepticon Justice Division are in Cyberverse, and other characters like that. So. But that's a way of getting kids in and getting them familiar with the characters and familiar with the names and familiar with the concepts. And then those kids hopefully will go along and buy, Generations toys in a couple of years' time. And that's what G.I. Joe needs, I think, as well, where to get people in at the ground level. As it stands at the moment, the comics are impenetrable to anybody who hasn't been reading them since issue, since 1982. The G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes movie was particularly good, so you're not going to get kids excited around about that. Snake Eyes turning up in Fortnite was forgotten a week later, even though the toy is now going to be like 2 years delayed.
You're not looking forward to that then, in 2022?
No, but it's not going to be released in 2022. They pushed back to 2023.
Unbelievable.
So that's gone. Like that. Snake Eyes was in Fortnite, and the figure's not going to be out for 18 months after everybody stopped caring. So,
I mean, to be fair, like Firefly and Duke were in Fortnite since the beginning, and
what was it? Winter.
Nobody cared then either. Like,
Arctic Assault was in Fortnite as well from Action Force, and there was a lot. There was a lot.
Stealing designs.
Retaliation, Storm Shadow was in it. Yeah.
But like a week later, having a character show up in Fortnite is forgotten because there's a new character. The week after Snake Eyes was in it, they had Ripley from Aliens and the Alien as a downloadable character in Fortnite. A week after that, they had John Wick. It doesn't get any traction. You need to have something in front of kids' faces on a weekly or daily basis to get any sort of traction, and that's what they need to do. Kids aren't reading comics.
Bingeable.
They're not watching. They're not going to the cinema. Get a bloody cartoon in front of their faces, and when you get it made, actually release it. Not like what you did with Micronauts, which is still probably stuck on a thumb drive somewhere in Hasbro's head office,
County Kildare,
down in. It's still in a thumb drive in somebody's desk in Boulder Media, and they just forgot to release it.
That never made it to Pawtucket. That it is still in Ireland.
Yeah.
100%.
It was too big a file to send. That was the problem.
Yeah. But they've even stuff. Do you remember?
They don't pay for a pro Dropbox. That's the problem.
We talked about that cartoon 4 years ago on our year-end show because I had been speaking to some people involved in making it. And then we were told 2 years ago it's complete and we're looking for a partner to show it. That was before the pandemic.
Crazy.
And it's still not out. You had
Crazy.
people sitting on their arses for 2 years looking for content to watch, and you somehow don't get your finished Micronauts cartoon out into 2 years. We're all looking for stuff on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I really hope that doesn't happen to this proposed G.I. Joe cartoon, and I hope we do see something this year on it.
What's interesting about that is that it was revealed during like a Hasbro Brazil kind of convention, and the head of Hasbro Brazil was the one kind of doing all the talking about it. And it was like they didn't even have like animation necessarily. They just had like almost like a series of like almost like, you know, kind of stop motion comic type animation to kind of like show the gist of what they were doing with some concept art. And apparently there's like a fight between Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and some kind of very cool futuristic kind of ninjas, and their designs looked very different. They had kind of gauntlets and you know, not all covered up, and there's like, you know, lots of different things going on. So it sounds fascinating, and also the people that saw it were really into it and thought the designs were very cool. So I am with you on that. I'm totally excited to see more about this, if it even gets anywhere, because I've got a feeling it might have something to do with, or it was maybe going to be utilized in conjunction with the Snake Eyes movie as like a, you know, like a media kind of like onslaught kind of continued push of the Snake Eyes as a brand type scenario. And like with the film not doing so well, I wonder if maybe it was scrapped, because like you say, they did a whole Micronauts thing in the open. Everyone knew about it. They've been talking about it for how long in all the different like conventions and all that kind of stuff, and then nothing. It's like it never existed. So yeah, but I'm with you, mate. I want to see that big time.
I'm all for getting more media out there, even if I'm not into it. Like, you know, but I'm also weird. Like, I'm all for moving G.I. Joe away from military and more into science fiction and stuff like that, because I think that's gonna click with more people.
Yeah. It's kind of already in science fiction to quite a degree.
I mean, it always was.
Just needs to.
As long as it doesn't involve psychic snakes.
Amazing. Pat, what about you, mate? You excited for more animation?
I think that was a really good thought, because when we were thinking of our answers, I actually hadn't occurred to me about the cartoon that had been announced. So that's a really good shout out. But yeah, it seems like something that I would really like to have. Honestly, maybe it's overly negative of me, but I've not been really too crazy about any of the G.I. Joe cartoons since G.I. Joe Extreme, because that was a really good cartoon, actually. And it would be really nice to have a nice updated cartoon that kids today could enjoy. I also think that it'd be good to have some decent live action television, because I do think that kids are moving to live action a little faster than they used to.
You could thank Marvel for that for the most part. I also think G.I. Joe, something they miss all the time with G.I. Joe is what appealed to us. Huh?
The target is what they miss all the time.
Yeah. They focus on we've had this conversation before as well, like focus on these core like 6 characters, and what they totally forget is G.I. Joe is ensemble. And one of the reasons so many kids flocked to it was because there was a character that represented them. It was the first brand that had a Hispanic character in Zap, and then Native American in Airborne and Spirit and stuff like that. And like, so for me, it wasn't Star Wars that represented me. It was G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, so I think that's something they completely miss. And if you did a TV show, a live action TV show, you could have characters coming in and out and focus on these different characters all the time, rather than it just being about Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Scarlet Duke, Cobra Commander. Like,
my dream would be that they did a G.I. Joe Special Missions TV show.
That'd be so good.
And you have a couple of core characters, and then every episode, depending on the mission, you bring in specialists. So, you might have Scarlet and Roblox as your two mains, and then the other three members of the team will be, we're in the Arctic, so it's snow job and blizzard and whatever, or we're in the jungle and it's Recondo. You would do that, depending, you'd have specialists come in and out during the season.
That'd be so good.
Mini for one-off episodes or mini story arc. That's how I would do it.
So good. I'd love that so much.
Yeah, that'd be really. That's a really solid way to kind of introduce it and keep it fresh.
I think the flavor of the brand kind of changed from 1982 to 1985 very slowly, and I like both versions of it. Where in 1982 it was like this small team that was hidden, that was secret, and had a base that was underground. Then by 1985, they're flying around and just wrecking as many jets as they need to, or what they feel like the budget.
Unlimited
They've got their
budget,
own aircraft carrier.
It's because that small team did such a good job that they increased the budget, and unfortunately then they just went nuts. They just run
away. Some defense contractors, like, this team that's only got 13 people, they need an aircraft carrier.
And 500 other characters to join them.
Some dude from Raytheon is like, what you guys need? Spacesuits.
We're not in space yet, and there's nothing going on up there. Let's get a team up there as fast as we can.
Amazing. And so Raytheon and Lockheed Martin are like, putting bags of cash on H.A.C.K.'s desk and be like, what you should push for? You should push Congress for a space station.
Amazing. I agree with all of that, actually, and I would love some sort of multiple character thing as well. Like, even if it's a core team and every episode there is a new character that kind of maybe comes in and goes out, or two characters that kind of appear, like you say, specialists for whatever mission they're doing, because I think that would be so much fun. And you could do it so that all the episodes are standalone, but then at the end of the season everything kind of ties together. And it makes sense. Like, I think that would be a lot of fun. They could do it easily. They could do it easier in animation, but live action would be so cool, so much fun.
Live action is almost animated now anyway.
Yeah,
like with the background explosions and all the effects and stuff like that. I mean, like, honestly, calling those Transformer movies live action is kind of a misnomer. Like, they are clearly animated.
They're effectively the same as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, aren't they? Exactly. The Transformers movies.
Yeah.
We're going to get so
many. They're not nearly Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I wish.
Well, obviously the Transformers movies are better, but
I think I'd have to disagree with that. Yeah, I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit's a banger of a movie.
Oh God, it's one of the best movies.
But actually, it's funny you say that, Pat, because the parts people liked in the Bumblebee movie were entirely CGI, which is just stuff on Cybertron.
Exactly, the PS2
that was entirely animated.
The PS2 Fall on Cybertron intro was fantastic.
Yeah,
I
everybody loved.
I bloody loved that. I'm not going to lie. When that first comes up on the screen and you see it from a distance and the fight's going, I was just like, what is this? And then you see Brawn, RC, Wheeljack. I was just like, oh, this is what I've wanted to see my entire life. And then, you're back on Earth. But actually,
90 seconds later, it's finished. Yeah.
I did love Bumblebee. I really enjoyed that movie. But anyway, let's move on. Out of animation, good shout though, Paddy. To Patrick now. What is your most anticipated item, thing, non-classified thing of 2022?
Well, Emily from Hasbro did say that there were more plans for these, so I almost wanted to choose the additional plans, but I went with the solid thing that we know that we are getting, and that is the Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow O-Ring 2-pack with the carrying case. I keep seeing people complaining, why is it Snake Eyes version 2, even though in the art, even though it's Snake Eyes version 1 as the figure, and it's like, no. Version 2 is on the carrying case that it comes with, which makes sense. But version 1 is the figure, and he has his version 1 art on the card back, I'm sure. So, I'm looking forward to that because I am so looking forward to a return of the O-Ring figures. There's just so much in my head that I want, that I've wanted for years, that whenever they came back in 2002, it was cool. But starting in 2002, there was almost an effort to see how much they could take that older style and update it and bring it back. And what I want now, which I think is what they're going for, is not updated, but figures that actually fit within that vintage style and that vintage line. I want figures that I can put right up next to my old ones and have them, look like they did when they were new, because obviously Storm Shadow has a yellowing problem, and it's going to be nice to have a nice white Storm Shadow. And additional characters that actually look like they fit with the vintage stuff. That's what I've wanted for years. So by far, that is what I'm looking forward to most.
Awesome. And also, I suppose, like, you get a chance then to really study the figures and see what they've done in terms of engineering as well, because that's another thing that you love about it, isn't it? Like that, the kind of like, the rivets and the, are you going to bust them open by any chance?
I will have to. Yeah, I actually think I may have to order a second set just so that I can be, feel safe cracking them open.
Awesome. They do look great though, and it looks like they've really kind of captured what the designs were back in the day as well, which, I suppose when you're working directly from something, you can copy it very comfortably. But yeah, I'm glad that they've kind of improved the O-rings to a degree, but I still feel like they're going to be snapping off after 10 years or so.
I hope not. I mean, it would be great if the O-rings really are that good. If we could just get a pack of O-rings that has repulsive.
Yeah.
It'd be like that Micronaut release. There was a medic Micronaut that was released by Palisades, and he came with 3 O-rings.
That's fantastic. That is great. They could do Lifeline Deluxe set, and they Lifeline and Dock, and then just have like a ton of like parts, screws, O-rings,
screwdriver, and
a bunch of like crotches and thumbs, like other hands, just like that. That would be amazing.
And a can of paint.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you guys? Are you looking forward to the O-rings, Erik?
Yeah, I for sure I am. I didn't know that I really wanted that back in my life, but I did, and I'm super excited about it. I'm the toy designer in me is really excited about the update to the O-ring and seeing how that works out. Seeing if they had to change any of the internal stuff to pass, more modern rules and all that stuff, and curious to see how it. Because these are re-sculpted, like these are new. They are not using old tooling and stuff like that. So I'm curious to put like the Snake Eyes next to Snake Eyes and see, if the scale is shifted at all. If like it looks from the photos that his details and his mask are cut in a little deeper and nicer.
Yeah.
But it still looks vintage. Like it still looks like it would fit in perfectly. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited about what's to come. The stuff we do know about, the stuff we're not supposed to know about, the stuff we're not, the stuff, and where my mind is running for you. We mentioned Baroness earlier, getting, one of those. I know Patrick brought up a few weeks back in conversation some of the unreleased like 94 stuff. Like how cool would that be to see that, or to see them redo like the Ninja Force Snake Eyes and Scarlet with normal O-ring construction but the same design.
That would be so good. That would be so good.
That would be so cool. Like, so yeah, I'm excited about the world that this is going to open.
I think I'm more excited about them doing other vintage card backs. So rather than just always having the same, the Black Explosion kind of style, but like the opportunity then to maybe do a digital explosion because it's the later versions, or to do an Iron Grenadiers back in, or a Tiger Force back in, or Night Force, Ninja Force, etc., etc. So, like, and the fact that Emily has confirmed that Night Force Ripcord is going to have his own Night Force single card, first ever Night Force figure on a single card, is really exciting to me. Like, I'm like, yes, finally, we're going to get something different visually, and that's, obviously I love the artwork on Hexagredo stuff. It's unreal, and Doug Hart and all the other people that did card art for G.I. Joe. But there's at some point I get a little bit like, I think it's just fatigued with the same design, like the G.I. Joe black explosion artwork figure. Like, I just want to see, like we got in over the years, we got Battlecore, we got all these different like Shadow Ninjas, we've got all these different like Star Brigade, all these beautiful different card designs. So I'd like to see that explored when they do those particular characters as well, which it sounds like they're going to be doing, which is great.
I'm excited to see like Ace on a card
big
versus
time.
Like as a pack-in. I think that's awesome, and I'm with you. I hope that if they're doing like a later figure with the digital camo, with the digital explosion, or if they're doing like a Ninja Force or Battlecore, like I hope they go to those cards.
They do it for Marvel Legends, don't they? They do it for all the Marvel Legends releases.
The only caveat I would have to it is like the Ninja Force and Battlecore cards were taller.
Yeah.
I would want them to keep them the same size just as a visual, but I want them to keep those colors and stuff like that. That said, if they made them larger, I'm not going to hate on it. Like, whatever. Like, it'll still look cool. So,
like, I mean, like, I know the Sonic Fighters ones were quite big, but they had that bloody great big backpack to stuff on there as well, didn't they? So, like, I guess there was a lot of it comes with the amount of accessories and things they came with and all that jazz, didn't it? So
I understand that, like, because of the big accessories.
But if you're doing, like, an updated Night Force figure, you don't need to have a big card, really, do you? Because especially if you're taking the gimmick away, you're not going to be putting the gimmick thing on there, are you? I don't think. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I don't know how they're going to approach that. If they even ever get there, that would be great if they did. Any figures? Are there any figures in the O-Ring, guys, you're looking forward to specifically them doing? Like, just any particular character?
I would really love a Destro version 2 on the card.
Iron Grenadier's Destro.
Yeah, Iron Grenadier's Destro. He's my favorite Destro, and I know that he was released on a card in Argentina, maybe. I think
Pat's nodding, so it's correct.
Yeah, I think Brazil. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I know that there was a carded version of him in another country. The other one I would love to see on a single card is Zartan. Just because,
he got one in Japan, right?
Yeah.
I love that card.
With the weird Death Star, like, surface behind them.
And the head floating behind him. Oh, love it. Love that. Love that artwork. Paddy's face chasing him wherever he goes. Paddy, any characters you'd like to see, mate, in the O-Ring?
Not so much characters. I really hope when they're obviously going to do vehicles because they've funded the Sky Striker. They will obviously do probably smaller vehicles for retail. I hope they go and do not your standard vehicles for retail. I don't want to see a H.A.C.K.S. We've had a million of them. I don't want to see an Awe Striker. I do want to see a Desert Fox. I do want to see a Dragonfly, because the vintage Dragonfly shatters in the box. So maybe if you're thinking of doing a medium-sized vehicle, a vintage looking but much more, safety tested Dragonfly is the way to go.
Dragonfly would be sweet, man. Absolutely.
But that's, again, it's something that's really difficult to find in good condition vintage wise. So do a new one, but make it look as close to the vintage as possible, but sturdier.
Dragonfly, definitely, 100%.
And take those sort of vehicles that are still iconic G.I. Joe vehicles, but don't just do the same 6 vehicles over and over again. Yeah,
it gets really tiresome, doesn't it, after a while, and you have the 337th HISS tank kind of scenario. But if they can do something different with it, I'm always game. But if it's just the same thing, then I'm just we've had this.
Thinking outside the box, like you said, the Desert Fox, which is my favorite G.I. Joe Jeep, and then like the HISS 2,
that would be sweet.
That would be awesome. Like things, thinking outside the box.
Thunder Machine,
perfect one. Yeah.
Than just stampeding towards the same 6 that they always start with.
Here's a good one, and one that Hasbro would love, because it is utilized on everything, especially the cartoon. The Stun. I think the Stun would be wicked to do as a because it's like a deep good size. It's a good size, but it's not too small. It's like a mid range, isn't it? And it's like got lots of features on it, and it's like
it's in sub-themes as well. So there's repaints. There's the Dreadnought and the Python
Patrol. Oh yes. So yeah, Brilliant. Pat, what about you, mate? I know you must have some ideas of what you want to see.
I could sit for hours and make lists of
That's
things.
the point.
That I want.
That's what we do on the show. We just sit here and we talk about the same over and over again.
I want certain categories of things to be addressed.
Yeah.
I think that one of the ones that is on my short list, only because of the fact of what we've already seen, would be Tiger Force Ripcord.
Yeah.
And those Tiger Force figures, I mentioned it, I think, in the weekly.
We did.
Whenever we were talking about it before. The ones that were canceled, the deco for those actually ended up on some of the other figures that were not in that same Toy Fair catalog.
The one we didn't mention was Ripcord himself, because that ended up on Roadblock, didn't it? With the helmet and everything.
Yeah.
Orange pants and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I don't know if he had stripes on his helmet, though, but
I think he does.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he does.
But yeah, I want to see some unreleased figures that I've wanted for forever. I would like to see some of the Sunbow decos. Paddy was just mentioning the Dragonfly, which I'm sure would come with a Wild Bill. So, he does have the stripes. Awesome. I couldn't even remember.
Do you know, I typed in stripy helmet and had to go through some really disgusting images first.
But yeah, it would be great to have all of the Tiger Force figures that weren't made. Paddy mentioned the Dragonfly. Why have we never gotten in O-ring form Sunbow Wild Bill? It doesn't make any sense to me. We could also have Sunbow from, I think it's from the Mass Device. It is from the Mass Device Torpedo.
Yeah.
With the white mask and the blue outfit.
He's called Pedo. He's called Pedo in the Mass Device. When he turns up, they'll go, "Hey, Pedo, Pedo, Pedo."
They call him Pedo a few times.
We need our G.I. Joe Pedo. Yes. And Tiger Force Pedo as well.
That did not age well, did it? That did not age well. Tiger Force Pedo. My goodness.
How cool would it be to finally get the Cobra Divers from Mass Device?
Oh, yes.
O-ring form, or the or just Duke and Stalker and a bunch of them in the orange and black.
Do you remember in the Rise of Ventura Rise when the only reason I remember this is because we watched it not too long ago, and Destro's underwater and he swims out of he swims into the tomb that's underwater, and as he goes past the camera, his foot should be doing that, and it's going in a
it's like a propeller. Yeah,
propeller.
He has a robotic leg.
It's amazing. Anyway, I don't know that. So that just hit me. So it's probably going to go up on the screen.
That's just Scottish men for you, though, Chris.
The feet just go.
The feet just go like this. Look, hi.
That's how they swim. Amazing. Well, yeah, loads.
That's how they swim in Loch Ness.
It's how they have to get away from Nessie. Yes. Right, so that's the O-ring chat. The good shout there as well, Pat. Actually, mate, really good shout on that. Yeah, okay, so it's me now, and I've actually, again, this one was a difficult one because there is just so much, and it just gets to the point where everything's trying to get through a door, and it just gets stuck, and you can't choose really what to actually pick out from all of this. But one of the main ones, and one that stuck out for me for a while since it was revealed, is Ultimates Super 7 Flint. And the reason for that is because I'm just such a big Flint fan, and as a kid, he was just he was the leader for me. He was the Duke of for me of everyone else's JoJo. He was he was the Dookie. He was the Earl of Sandwich for me. So I was really excited when they revealed that Flint was going to be they were going to be done in the Ultimates line, and then I was not disappointed at all. One thing that I was speaking to Pat about this actually. The beret does look a little bit light in terms of color. You feel like it should be a little bit darker to match the cartoon, and then when you watch the cartoon, there's two colors to it because they do almost a dark shade and then this much lighter kind of grey highlight, but it looks like they've gone with the highlight as opposed to the shade, or tried to go in the middle, which I think would have been a better idea. But it's really difficult to get right, I think, especially with the deco on animated stuff. If you're not doing cell shaded, you're not really doing it exactly the same. So I can let that go for the time being.
And that may change still. We haven't seen actual product photography.
That's true.
It's all digital paint. So
yeah, well, and the digital paint, but they did do a paint master that he had and he showed on camera.
Oh.
But like you say, that isn't. Its final colors may vary still, definitely. So they may address that. But the fact that he comes with the newspaper from Worlds Without End is just brilliant. I love that. The shovel from that 10-second scene where him and Lady J are digging up and she's got the metal detector. And I was really surprised that they gave him the shovel and didn't give her a metal detector, because I thought that would have been like the whole point of doing the shovel in the first place. But I think he's probably shown up with a shovel in a couple of episodes, but like it's just so random to have it, but I love it at the same time. So I'm really excited for Flint. I think he's beautifully designed, looks great, and obviously with the Action Force connection is just one of my most anticipated items of 2022. Sorry, Eric, you look like you're about to say something. I wasn't going to punch you.
I am. I hate Flint. No, I don't. I love Flint. I especially love his animation colors. The green shirt with the green and brown, with the green and like kind of reddish brown like camo, and I thought it fit him much better than even his toy deco did. So like that's something that I think he looks amazing.
Was that just on Sunbow's part? They did that because of the black doesn't really translate very well. Is that what it is?
For the most part, it's hard to translate black in animation and make it look right. But even in the comic book coloring at the time, you didn't color things black. You just heavy inked them, and usually it was like a dark blue. So like even that like is kind of a cool look for him. What do you think of the possibility of seeing Super 7 do any like redecos of them? Could you see them doing animation Flint in Tiger Force colors?
I would love that 100%. I don't know though. I think that I've got a feeling they might stick really strictly to what was seen on the cartoon. So I could see them doing some sort of like dream sequence where he's all in that like two-tone green color. In Flint's Vacation, where he's just like the whole thing, like him, it's just like two shades of color, but it's really like kind of cool and quite an interesting thing.
Is he in because there's the Tiger Force commercial that Sunbow animated? Is he in that? Because that's kind of an open door for them to do him then.
I don't think that he is.
I don't think he is. I think you only see Duke and you see Wild Bill. Don't you in the Dragonfly? I don't think you see much else.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's because of the fact that Flint wasn't one of the original figures planned.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
They may have had the animation going and not had him ready. I don't know.
Especially if Wild Bill's in it, and he didn't actually make it into the line either.
Right.
I'm gonna watch it now. So.
Okay, so everyone, hold on a minute. While Chris watches.
Dusty Lifeline. Duke is in the Tigerfly. There's a shot from the distance where there's a bunch of them like painting the vehicles. So you could, I don't know if you could have. Let me see who's actually involved in that. So you've got.
I'm sorry, I took us down a rabbit hole of.
This is great. No, Flint's in it. Flint's in it.
Flint is in it.
He's awesome. Well, okay, so it's really difficult to see, but he's the brown one on the, as you see, the far right. I think you'd see, like not the far right, but just next to the far right.
Nice.
Wait,
there you have
that one.
Okay.
That one there.
Super 7 has an excuse to repaint him.
That is definitely him, isn't it? Because you've got it's him. It's the brown and black top.
Message.
It is the correct hat though, right? That's not a Recondo, is it?
It's so hard to tell. Like it really is. Yeah. But you've got Duke there. You've got another one, and you.
Wave of Tiger Force, or was he in the second?
Second, I think. I don't think he was in the first wave, was he?
I don't remember how those ended up being released. I thought that Tiger Force was a timed release and that they showed up at Toys R Us first and then they showed up everywhere else later. I don't remember them actually having like a wave 1 and a wave 2 of the figures. All the figures I think came out right away and then they just released more vehicles later, right?
I believe that's the case. Also Frostbite's in it as well at the end. When the tiger jumps on the actual real tiger jumps on the hood or the front of the the tiger cat, and then you see his face and they're like, where did this come from?
Well, then
this is really literal.
The tiger.
Yeah.
The Tiger Force tiger.
I want that tiger now, and I also want the polar bear that climbs on the whale on the hovercraft in that one episode. Like now I also want the whale that
Iceberg turns into. Amazing. I could see them doing repaints, but I think they're going to stick strictly to what's in the cartoon. If it's an animated version in a commercial, they could do like a commercial series, which would be great. That would open so many doors for them to do repaints, because I feel like there's a reason they're expensive figures. It's because they hardly reuse anything. Like, and I'm sure they use like really basic parts if they've got any basic parts, but like, you know, they're all so unique. And then, you know, I don't know. That must be. There's no wonder they're $55 each.
When you say they'll stick to the cartoon, do you mean just the Sunbow cartoon, or? I'm
hoping for a bit of Deke. Kitty said.
I bet you are.
Kitty said. Tiger Force Kitty said. I'm hoping for a bit of Deke. I'd love if they did everything. If they went through like Savage and Extreme and all that stuff too. I think it'd be awesome. Like just go nuts. Renegades, Resolute.
$55 Resolute Duke.
Yes. Scarlet has a very different color scheme in Deke.
Yeah.
But Philip is always fond of mentioning to me, because I forget, so I owe it to him to remember in this one moment, that almost all of the Deke designs are pulled straight out of G.I. Joe Order of Battle. So if you look at the Order of Battle pages, you'll actually see that Zorana has like the green top.
Yeah.
And I believe that Baroness has like the light blue details on her rather than yellow. So a lot of that is kind of a callback to the G.I. Joe Order of Battle comics. But yeah.
That opens up Rocky Balboa too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And cheap as well. That's awesome. Okay, well, I suppose that's everything, isn't it? We've covered everything now. What about...
Yep, end of show.
End of the show. We can stop now. I can just relax. I can never do another episode again, right? This is the last episode of the Full Force, guys. Thanks for joining us. Pat's like, hang on, what? I don't have to come on every week?
We need at least another hour or another year just to talk about O-Ring figures.
That's right. A very good point. We'll do that on the next monthly. We
should have an O-Ring special.
Yeah.
That's actually a good idea. Let's do that. We'll pencil that in to Chris's very ridiculously packed calendar.
Well, we could just that could be one of the months,lies, right?
Yeah,
we could just do an O-Ring special.
100%. We'll do that next monthly then. It's an O-Ring special. We're putting a team together, Eric. You son of a bitch.
Everybody's coming in the O-Ring.
Exactly. We'll call it that. We'll call it coming in the O-Ring. Anyway, family show. Right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me and my wonderful, beautiful presenters for this episode. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks
and
as
Happy
well.
New Year, everybody, even though we're recording this 3 days in advance.
Don't spoil the magic. I'm just kidding. As if anyone would believe I edited this in like an hour's time. No. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope it's a good one. Hope it's a better one than 2021 and 2020. So yeah, hope it is a much better one than those two absolutely garbage dumpster fire friggin' years. But anyway, let's look forward, let's go positive, and that brings us to the end of this very special New Year's Day special. Stop saying special. Monthly episode. Thank you for joining us. Massive thank you to my awesome co-hosts, Erik Dirty Araña, Paddy Total Package Lennon, and Patrick Notpicard Stewart. See you next month. And as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3. Force! What did Eric shout?
Yo, Joe.
Plastic colonials.
Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.